everyone, today we're going to talk about my favorite, because you got all these fucking crybabies that piss and moan about being up front. Well, if you're at a concert or a festival and you're up front and then you're being pushed on and all this other dumb shit, and then you get mad about it, well, you're the moron that wanted to be up front on the stage. And then you got 10,000 people behind you that want to be in the same spot you're in. So, you can't get mad at the person behind you because they ain't got nothing to do about it. They can't do nothing about it. Well, yes, I'm going to say back in the day a lot because I'm 47 and I've been going to concerts since I was 4 or 5. That's just how it was where I come from. So, we're going to talk about being up front by the stage or just being within 100 foot of the stage. So, how to prepare for that? Well, pissing and moaning and getting mad at people because they're pushing on you and they can't help it, it's not their fault. That ain't going to do nothing but piss them off and start a fight. I'll give you an example. It's probably going to be repeated twice because this is going to go along a part of bullying. This past, was it 2020? 2022, I think it was. I went to Louder Than Life. One of the few times that you will ever see me up in a crowd because of the situation. Because I know what can happen and will happen. I was behind this couple. I was probably 5 rows back. Luckily, everybody was pushing, so I could just hold my feet in the air and just stand still. Wouldn't be that big of a deal. So, this bitch-ass girl thought she was going to be slick because she's mad that everybody's pushing. She goes to swing back and fucking tries to hit me. So, I block her ass. I pushed her hand off to the fucking side, and she reared back again. So, I balled up my fist and let her see. You do it again, I'm going to beat the fuck out of you and your old man. So, she decided not to hit me, but hit the woman behind her. That was directly behind her instead of coming after me, because she thought I was pushing her. And she punched the fucking lady in the face. She hit her pretty goddamn hard. Well, to the fucking cunt there that did that, yo, bitch. Why? Because your little entitled ass thinks you're fucking entitled like the rest of you idiots. If you don't want to be pushed on, touched, grabbed, whatever, don't be up front. Don't be within 100 foot of that stage, because it's going to happen. Flat out. You're going to get pushed. You're going to get caught in a mosh pit. All kinds of other stupid shit's going to happen. You might even lose your fucking pants. It's just how it is. Why? I've been doing it for 40 years. So I can tell you, I've seen it all. And then some. The only thing I ain't seen was someone dying yet. But I've seen many people get their necks broke and a bunch of other shit and get hurt really bad because they have the same entitlement and feel they're entitled, and they fucked around and found out what it's like. But you guys, because your generation is a bunch of crybabies and looking for safe spaces, so your shit ain't really that bad. Back then, when you went, you made sure you had a fucking mouthpiece, because if you was anywhere within 100 foot, your ass was going to be in that mosh pit whether you wanted it or not. It was facts. There wasn't no way of getting around it. Now, a mosh pit's more like a daycare. You got a bunch of little crybabies that want to walk around and jump around like a bunch of idiots. So, I'm sorry, I got off on that and back to being up front. And also being up front, I've noticed at the DWP festivals, you clowns are some really entitled crybabies. And it's not like Ozfest. Man, it ain't nothing like Ozfest or Warped Tour or, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. Mayhem Fest ain't nothing like none of them. You guys want to, let's pull out our little blankets and be in front of the stage like it's, Woodstock and this and that. Motherfucker, please. You ain't coming to a peace-loving concert. You coming to a motherfucking metal show, mostly. Yeah, they have some other garbage there, but for the most part, it's metal bands. And if you don't know what's going to be there, then you shouldn't have went. So, these crybabies want to put out their blankets, and then they get mad when 10,000 people come up when a band comes on stage. They want to get all mad and this and that, and then they go to these Louder Than Life groups or ink incarceration groups and what the hell the other ones, I can't remember them all. There's so many of them. Aftershock and all thing else. And then they want to whine and cry. Oh, somebody stepped on my blanket. Oh, somebody dumped this over. Oh, somebody. Motherfucker, please, get over it. It's a fucking concert. It's a festival. If you don't want that to happen, don't be within 100 foot of the stage. Period. I mean, that is a fact of life. It's been that way since I've been going. It'll be that way when I'm gone. And if you think it's going to change now, it's not. You're still going to have them people that's going to do it. That's just how it is. Get the fuck over it. I'll tell you a little story. It's one of my favorites. People kind of say I'm an asshole for it, but I'm not. It's a funny story. Quite a few years, probably 10 years ago. It was about a year or so before Peter died. Me and my wife went to go watch Typo Negative up in Cincinnati. I just happened to be up there at Bogart's. So we go watch them, and you got this little motherfucker. My wife wanted to be up front. She had never seen Typo, and she wanted to be up front. So, and I told her, I said, I wasn't fucking around. So if you want to go up there, take your little ass up there and go at it. So she gets up there, and we're watching this. Me and this other dude sitting back, we're watching the show. And this little scrawny little fucking, probably about 200-pound dude, he's probably about 5'4". He ain't very tall. And then he starts fucking pushing my wife. So, okay. I'm just sitting back, and I'm watching this because I know what's going to happen. He's trying to get to in between her and this other guy because they're up front and they're holding on to the rails. So this little motherfucker proceeds to try to push her, and she just fucking face plants him and pushes him out of the fucking way. So this goes on for about 5 minutes. Then I look over at the guy I was talking to. He's like, hey man, look at this. And this little idiot decides to try to get up on the rail and stands on the side of my wife's leg. So he's like, man, ain't you going to do nothing? I said, nope, watch. This is what's going to happen. So she turns around and looks at him. She grabs him by the chest of his shirt and pushes his ass. She bulldogs him and 30 other people to the far right of the stage. She pushed all of them so fucking far that they all lost their spot. That the people in the row behind them moved forward. So everybody lost their goddamn spot. And my wife walks her ass back, gets right back in her spot. Nobody else fucked with her the rest of the night. So, me telling that story, yeah, it sounds like I was a fucking asshole, but no. She wanted to be up front. She was going to learn what it's like and what you got to do to be up front. Have I done that? Yes, I've done that stupid shit before. I have cleared out a whole goddamn row just because motherfuckers kept pushing. So, next thing about being up front. People push, and I used to have a remedy for that. Because you always get these assholes. Yeah, they're going to push, and there's nothing you can do. But you're always going to be those assholes that are pushing harder and that are trying to make it harder than what it is. So, I solved that problem. I would wear work boots. My favorite ones were Red Wings because they're nice, they're thick, and they're chunky. So, when you were the asshole behind me pushing me too hard, I will lean forward, and I know when you push me forward enough, your feet are going to be under my feet. So when I step back down, I'm going to crush your goddamn toes. And was it intentional? Fuck yeah, it was intentional. Because you got to have enough respect not to be pushing too goddamn much. Everybody's going to push. That's the way it is. But you always got those assholes that are pushing harder, and they're usually behind you. So that's how I solved that problem. And after a time, everybody around me would stay the fuck away from me because they knew that I was going to end up breaking their toes because I was 250 pounds. So you have somebody 250 pounds with nice work boots on somebody that's got some cheap-ass Nikes, their toes are going to hurt. So about midway through the day, nobody wants to get near you. It solves that problem. Another thing about being up front, and I don't know why you drunk assholes do this, but you little fuckers always got to do it, and I don't understand why. But you always get your ass beat for doing it. You always have that little assholes that have the little man syndrome that like to get drunk and find the biggest motherfucker they can to start a fight with. Why you idiots do it, I have no idea. But it never fails, and the best way to solve that problem Just throw them in a mosh pit. It stops it. It solves the fucking problem pretty quick. And any other asshole that does that, it solves the problem pretty goddamn quick.